Hello and welcome to Finvest TV. My name is Dawid Malinowski and I'll be your host for this segment called The Equity Story. On this segment, we're going to talk to various people from different walks of life, different business sectors and different professions, and see what can we learn from their stories and their experience doing various things in business. We'll focus mainly on the venture capital world, as well as the surrounding community and investors, as well as some homegrown, family-run businesses here in Poland and the CEE region. My guest today is Pawel Laskarzewski, an experienced technology consultant and a solutions architect with decades worth of interesting and diverse experience. Hello, Pawel. Lovely to.
Hello. I'm glad that I can be here today with you guys.
I was going to say, thank you so much for coming. It's a pleasure to have you here. And I suppose starting from the beginning, if I may. So from your, the beginning of your career. So you have started your professional life at BE Aerospace as a system engineer in 2003. So almost 20 years ago. And since then, you have been involved in a host of different businesses, projects. So you've been working as a team leader, but also as a trainer, then as a manager, for instance, at Ion Bank. So you've been also involved in operations in the financial services industry. And then you've been also working as a founder, but also special advisor to a host of different startups. So quite a big variety of different experiences there, if you like. And an illustrious career to date. So if you could, tell us more about your journey. So starting from an engineer back in early 2000s to now, how did your career evolved and
So that's kind of cool. I like to talk about the early days of mine, and to be honest, my career started before BE Aerospace, because BE Aerospace was the next step. So I was working before for like the companies that you are not putting on your LinkedIn usually, because those were small companies that probably do not exist anymore. But those companies gave me ability to learn myself how engineering works. So that helped me as a 13-year-old boy to get to those big boys table,
So you started really early.
Yeah. I started early because I had a very big drive into technology. It was like very early worldwide. This was the dot-com bubble moment. Internet was just about to start everywhere. And I was very into this. And I wanted to learn more. And I was very into also the technology, because I was watching the movies like Hackers and other,
I remember
with Angelina
that.
Jolie,
Yes,
the one.
yes.
Yeah. So that inspired me, and I thought, I want to be like those guys. And that's how I started to become an engineer. And after 5 years of being engineer with a couple of different companies worldwide, I decided to move into more business side, and I decided to start building an upside for myself, not for someone else. And that's how I started to build companies, to be an engineer, CTO, to be a COO, a founder, a CEO of those companies, different roles. Is I wanted to expand my skills, my capabilities, but also I wanted to combine different knowledge. Like, this is very rare to have IT people with very deep IT knowledge that also combines a very deep business knowledge.
I was going to say it's quite unique, because obviously you oftentimes see these people in the industry who have this brilliant idea and they are just incredibly dedicated and good at it.
Yeah.
Let's say a brilliant IT engineer who just knows his stuff and is is basically a fantastic whiz with it, but he kind of lacks these business/people skills that let's face it, you just have to have, right, to succeed in this economy, in this market, which is a competitive market, obviously. So that's brilliant. And in terms of this kind of switch moment, because you said that you obviously you worked for different companies, and then you kind of decided to expand and grow. What was the sort of drive behind
So
it?
for me, the drive was like, I seen what we are doing in those companies, and I said, Pavel, you are not the guy that want to work for the next decade or 2 decades as an engineer or as a
for someone else.
manager in those companies. You want to build something greater. You want to build something from scratch. You want to build something by yourself. And one of the deciding moments when I, after starting the first company of mine, was when I had discussion with the guy that made Siri, the Siri founder, who sold Siri to Apple. And we had this conversation because of the VC fund that invested in this company. And he said, Paweł, in my life, I have 3 goals. I want to build 3 companies: for money, for myself, and for humanity. But to finance those 2, probably I need to start with the one for money. And that was Siri. And I said, yes, that's a very nice thing to have this like vision for your life, what you want to do and what kind of goals you want to achieve. And that's how I started to think differently, like in Apple advertisement, think differently. So, and my goal was to start building things that are global. Like I didn't want that. That's fine that some people are building local stuff because it helps local communities, etc. But this is not at the end my thing. I like to build things that impacts industry. That impacts world or certain parts of the economy. And that's the way my thinking has been changed because of this one short conversation with this guy. So
that's pretty fascinating. So there is a genesis like of the whole story.
Yeah,
Kind
everywhere there is some kind of beginning. You know?
Yeah, that's fantastic. But on one point when you were talking, you touched upon this kind of global reach and global outlook. How you want to do something that has an international reach, if I can put it in these words. So, in terms of Web3 / blockchain, in which obviously you are quite experienced and quite knowledgeable of, what are the biggest challenges at the moment in terms of kind of the global outlook, in your view? Obviously?
Yeah. So the biggest challenge as an industry we're facing right now is adoption. Okay. Right now, just 0.5% or maybe 1% or maybe less % of users worldwide knows how to use blockchain because there are too much tech things. They need to be too much tech savvy guys to start being there. Like remembering private keys, using MetaMask. For all of those people, those things are super spooky. Like they're scared, they are afraid of this. Okay. So the entry level and those barriers that you have to enter the space are too big. And that's the biggest challenge we are facing right now. And there are certain ways to overcome and overtake those challenges. And I think that the next big thing in the crypto space are going to be projects that are building tools that will help to remove those obstacles to allow people to enter. That's why the whole big gaming industry is thinking how to enter this space. That's why Starbucks worldwide is creating their program for all the customers so they can use the blockchain without basically having MetaMask and without a need of having such a tool. That's why since 2019, do you have Visa card maybe?
I do, yeah. Visa.
So Visa since 2019 is using under the hood USDC on Ethereum to settle transactions. So every time you pay with your Visa card, you are using blockchain. And this is what adoption is all about. You don't need to know that you are using blockchain, NFTs and others. You don't need to know those terms, but you're gonna use them because the technology under the hood is using that. So I think that is going the next big drive for the industry. Obviously, there are a couple of others, but this is the one that is going to put us from this level of adoption to this level of adoption.
So basically, kind of this, as you absolutely put it, under the hood spread of this underlying technology when it comes to blockchain to various other areas of our day-to-day life, like with the Visa example. So also that's quite cool because now I get to say to me mates that obviously I use blockchain in my daily life.
Every time I pay for
every
burger.
time, yes. No, I mean, but in terms of, you also said it can be quite spooky. Some of certain bits of that technology. Do you reckon there's also still in terms of blockchain and Web3, there is despite of these efforts like a Netflix documentary that explains to you what this technology and what this stuff does, how it's built. Do you reckon there's still some work to be done when it comes to the public relations element of it, as in to kind of bring it closer to everyday people, kind of educate people.
So education is always the most important thing, because people need to learn how to use those services. So that's the most important element, and everyone who is building company in this space should somehow be involved into educating their users, companies that they are working with into this. Another thing is, right now, we have lack of regulations in this market.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of scams are possible. That's why FTX was possible. That's why Luna was possible. That's why those hedge funds and funds that are on the market are losing money.
They were taken for a ride when
it's
they...
fake money, printed money out of the air. So because of lack of regulations, they were able to do so. Because of that, blockchain have a bad press right now, bad PR worldwide. Because of that, people are stepping away out of this industry. So what needs to change? A regulation needs to be put in place, because this will provide much more security for the users at the end. This will remove a lot of scams that were trying to use the situation that was on the market and grab the money out of the users that were young, that were just entered into the space, etc. So this is another thing that is super important, so we can progress. And another element is regulations will allow financial institutions and other regulated ones to finally provide exposure to this market through a regulated entity to their current customers. Like, we have hundreds of
sorry to interject, because not all banks are still, from what I understand, keen to offer, perhaps as a part of the service. So the easiest way would be to say, put it this way. So not all banks are keen to put, say, cryptocurrency, in the availability basket as a part of their service in terms of the broader kind of set of services they provide via their brokerage accounts. So you can buy and sell shares.
Yes, but there are a lot of banks that are keen on, and they are waiting just for the regulations to be in place. I know, at least 5 global banks that, like Santander, JP Morgan, and others, that are very keen to enter this space. And they even have blockchain department. They have Solidity developers. They have Web3 developers. They have a huge department for Web3 for the moment when
the moment is right and the regulation is kind of set, set in stone, put in place.
Because they will have products ready. And the only thing that they need to do is to push the play button, and that's done. And they have this offering for the user. They have already marketing strategies for that. They have part of the technology ready. They are still working to onboard much more new product that they can provide to their users within regulated and secure environment. And those users don't need to have MetaMask or any other wallet to use those services and use those products. But if they want, they can start using those products with the wallet, because at the end, in the crypto, is about being an owner of your assets. That's why the whole gaming industry wants to step in, because right now, games are earning only on the primary market, like selling games, DLCs, and microtransactions in games. But much more transactions are happening on secondary market between users. So this is where the money resides.
Especially these online games where there is massive markets for this particular sword or that sort of stuff.
But imagine that you have a game and you sold this sword on the primary market, you earned £10. And on the secondary market, this sword has been traded 500 times over 3 years. And you could get your 5% cut out of every transactions on the secondary market.
If you structure in a proper way.
And this is giving the game a long play instead of just releasing the game, adding new DLCs,
and that's it,
done. And the key element for the game industry is becoming animation of the community and providing them additional value. So you start this change the thinking of the game developers to provide more value for gamers, so gamers can make more transactions and enjoy the gameplay much more. So this is a win-win situation, because they will earn money on the long play, on the production they created, and those guys will have much more fun.
And the game also as a product that you obviously have to initially invest money into, it attracts a much longer longevity effectively as a product that kind of keeps on giving, really.
Exactly.
For you as a game developer. So I suppose it's a matter of proper regulation and first and foremost restoring confidence of the people on the high street that the technology is there, it's safe to use, it's being properly regulated, and it's fine for you to partake in this new tech. It's called tech revolution, if you like.
Yeah, I'm always saying that blockchain basically is the next general purpose technology. Like we had steam engine, we had internet, we had electricity, we had AI, and now we have blockchain. And it's going to be the next general purpose technology, because the general purpose technology is technology that impacts everyone on planet Earth. So that's why I believe this is going to become the next thing like that. Like, for example, it's going to impact every industry that we have on the market. One simple example.
Well, finance is definitely one of them. Games as well.
Games, definitely. But plane tickets. Imagine right now you're buying ticket to New York and you decide not to go there.
Yeah.
You're done. You cannot do nothing with this ticket.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of sell it back to the airline or like cancel it, but you'll get a fraction of your money effectively.
But what if you'd be an owner of this ticket and you can sell this ticket on the secondary market to someone else, and this user can use it till the moment before the check-in? That's something that is bringing much more value, because you are owner of the ticket you bought, you can sell it to someone else, and this user using this ticket can do a check-in and then fly to New York.
That's interesting.
And it's already done. There is a company that is doing something like that. Yeah.
Because I've heard about exclusive luxury watches that being done with this.
And that's super interesting. So that shows that this industry can impact every industry,
every kind of transaction.
Yeah. We need to be creative in how we are doing
using
those.
it.
Yeah, and using this within our Web2, Web3 services and offering that we currently offering to the market. So that's the deal.
I suppose creative, with this caveat that we take comfort in the fact that there's someone behind these creative people's back who is kind of overlooking, making sure that no scam, as you put it, takes place, right? And kind of diving a bit deeper in this context in terms of our region here. So Central Eastern Europe, CE / Poland. Are there any interesting companies or interesting startups, initiatives perhaps, or regulatory developments for that matter that takes place in the region
so
here?
The first thing is that our region is very important from the technological point of view for the whole world. Like after COVID hit the market, a lot of US industry started to cut jobs in US, and they started to move their operations, the IT operations, to Poland. Like I know one company that stepped into Poland and they said, okay, from tomorrow we want to have like 1,000 developers. We are paying 50% more than the market average, because still for them is 50% less
cheaper,
that they paid in US. So why? Because we have very good engineers, very good developers. We are winning all the contests worldwide, and our people are working with all the biggest companies everywhere. And that's one thing. But also because the crypto and Web3 community in Poland is very strong. Like an example of Luna.
Okay.
Luna had the second biggest community in the world in Poland after the Korea. So right now, Solana is trying to overtake this community. They just opened a hacker house in Krakow, because this is the same development language. So they want to approach those developers and engineers that were working to build projects on Terra.
Lure these people effectively.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So because for them it's easier to onboard people that are already in the space than to educate and try to onboard the new people that were never in the space, because that's much more expensive and much
it takes
harder.
Time and effort, obviously.
So I know a lot of projects. I will because my main rule is I'm never pitching anyone publicly. We can speak about this like privately.
Yeah, later.
But in Poland we have a massive amount of super interesting projects. I know a couple of gaming companies that look super interesting, and I think they will gonna make a huge difference on the next bull run. And they approach is basically very interesting because they are approaching not only people from the crypto market, but everyone can play. This is a free-to-play game. If you want to use this game with your cryptocurrency wallet, you can, but you don't have to. And that's the beauty of that, because that allows you to onboard everyone, like 100% of the users you reach. I know a couple of infrastructure companies that provides infrastructure for NFTs, that provides infrastructure for games, that provide infrastructure for other things. And why this is super important, I told before that tools and infrastructure is going to be super important for us. And I'm always comparing the moment where we are at right now in Poland, but also worldwide in the crypto, to 2000, to the dot-com bubble.
Yeah.
Because this is the characteristic of those both bull runs, bubbles are super similar. A lot of projects with better or worse business models, overvalued, with the founders that very often don't know how to build companies.
They have the vision but no business skills.
Do not generate revenue stream, which is basically the main purpose why you are building company, to start generating revenue stream.
Yeah.
Not we know companies like Uber that relies on the capital for years, but that's at the end.
That's a different story. Yeah,
like a lot. So during the dot-com bubble, a lot of those companies have died. This was some sort of discovery phase. So they were trying to verify which business models are working, which not, and a lot of scams, obviously, because they were just putting .com to the name and they were raising capital.
Yeah, as far as I remember, they were trying to do basically conventional things, but they were just kind of sticking this sticker of .com to it, and kind of hoping for the best and for the money from the investors.
That simplified the access to the capital. And the same thing is on the crypto. You are telling I'm Web3 company, and that last year it was like super easy to get capital. I'm play to earn company in the crypto space. That was super easy to get your capital, like 5 million within, I don't know, a month. That's unusual.
That's amazing, isn't
on
it?
Traditional market, to get 5 million, you need to have product, you need to have team, you need to be super convincing to
track record experience,
and half a year of discussions with different VCs, so they can do a proper due diligence also. But nevertheless, so this dot-com bubble burst removed all the companies, like most of the companies, out of the equation, because that was the verification moment.
Yeah, the market verified them effectively at the end of the day. Right?
But few of those business models survived. And those few business models over the next decades built a whole new economy. Before 2000, no one heard about e-commerce. No one heard about digital marketing. No one heard about social media. And only those three industries today are providing hundreds of millions of jobs worldwide.
Shaped effectively our day-to-day life and our reality, our politics, everything.
But it didn't happen over a day.
No, of course. It was a process.
Yeah, a process that lasts for at least a decade. And tools were needed to build those whole new economies. Like, for example, in e-commerce, there was a need for online payments. And online payments made e-commerce big industry.
Impossible,
because otherwise, how we would pay online? That would
that wouldn't quite work with it.
So this one tool made this whole industry. And then the development of the internet and expansion of the internet, plus digital marketing that allowed those businesses to advertise themselves, not on the offline boards.
An advertising war somewhere like local newspaper.
Exactly, because that have limited
reach.
And with internet, you have global reach, and you can reach people from China as well as from India as well as from US. So those tools allowed this economies to grow, and I think we are in very, very similar moment right now in the crypto.
So just on the verge of this kind of breakthrough, when all the stars kind of align with, as we discussed just a minute or so ago, with the regulation, the market slash everyday users, confidence, and kind of weeding out the bad apples, the frauds that you mentioned. We're just on the verge of that next revolution.
That's the moment where I believe very strongly, very firmly that we are in this moment, and in the next 5 years, I would not be surprised if on my iPhone, my Apple Wallet would be a crypto wallet with a Face ID security. So I don't need to remember those private keys or any other spooky things. That's the simplicity. You don't need to use it. You don't even need to know that it's a crypto behind. It's just another
It just
technology.
works for you. It's just there. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's my opinion about CE, but also the Poland and global market alone, because those are the similarities. This market is still very small. So yeah.
And speaking, and obviously we discussed people, we discussed the market already here, specifically in Poland, and in terms of also what you touched upon in terms of human capital. So these young, incredibly bright people who often study more than one degree at the time. Speak foreign languages, take keen interest in what they do, and have the necessary technical skills, but also the working ethos that kind of makes the combination of all these things so attractive to Western investors, foreign investors for that matter. Do you believe, in terms of our country, do we have what it takes potentially to become one of these places where actually innovative projects, interesting new innovative projects can and have a chance to grow from the startup phase to a growing business that one day, perhaps over a few years or a few months, few years, takes over and becomes one of the leaders internationally, gets this global reach? Or are we, for some other reason, kind of, or are we just going to see Poland as this hub, if you like, for these brilliant ideas and these Western investment only coming in here to use it as this Poland as this kind of hub for bright people who kind of do the work, just with Revolut being an example. So they hire like 1,000 people in Krakow, and obviously it's a concept that came from abroad. They just hire people here because they're very good, and that's it.
So I believe that both things can happen. The problem is that we have here in Poland, very often we are too late in all the technological revolutions that happened in the past. There was a fintech revolution like a couple of years ago, and there was a project in KNF, in Polish regulatory body, to create a sandbox in here, to onboard those fintechs worldwide in Poland, so they can open their offices and everything to set here, to be this fintech heaven, this fintech place, this fintech fundament of Europe. But they never succeeded with that. So we missed that occasion.
What happened? Do you know?
The KNF killed the project of Sandbox. The Sandbox have never been launched, and there is for being able to operate in the financial sector, you need to have license. And the license that you can get in Poland, for example, that will help you to become such a Revolut, is e-money institution license. And there is only one company since ever that has this
tricky
license
to get, presumably.
Yeah. So, and in Lithuania, you have thousands of those licenses, and Lithuania won the market back then. So I think that's the moment, that's the last moment that we have right now. So regulations are stepping in. The whole Europe needs to adjust very soon for the crypto market. So we can start building much more interesting regulations from the point of view of the projects, local ones.
So welcoming environment, effectively.
But also the abroad ones. So to come here, open the companies in here, operate in here, work with our regulatory body in Poland, and to become visible in this region, and to start building the presence, the global presence from here. Right now, the problem is that most of the Web3 companies are opening their offices in Dubai, Estonia, Malta, and a lot of other countries, but not in Poland. BVI, I know, a lot, Panama.
Yeah, I can imagine there are very, very good tax reasons for that sort of stuff, which is fair enough. It's a consideration.
To be honest, I would love to pay taxes if the tax system would be super easy.
Transparent, yes.
I would love to pay flat taxes in here if this system would be super easy. It's not. So they're all the time changing things, couple of times a year. So that's a problem. Because if you cannot have this stability, how you can predict building your business? You are starting to focus. You need to focus on the problems that you're gonna face from the government point of view, instead of focusing on BizDev. And that's not how we want to build business.
No, of course.
So that's why I think and I believe that this is the last moment as Poland that we can do something to be a leader in Web3 in the region, but also in the whole Europe, because most of the countries in Europe did not regulated crypto and blockchain market yet. They are waiting, they are thinking. So we can go further and start building those friendly regulations for business. Build those sandboxes so they can enter this area and start building the operations without high costs. And that's how we can become a leader that will have the local unicorns, but also abroad unicorns that wants to be in here, like Dubai is now right now.
So it's not idea either or really in your mind. It's it is completely feasible to hit two birds with one stone. Really, it's just you have to the kind of framework that you have in place just have to be favorable and inviting and helpful, to build business as opposed to just kind of finding your way through unclear and ever-changing regulations. Is that fair enough?
Yes, that's totally fair enough.
So in your ideal world, kind of, I suppose last question for today, in your ideal world, if you could change anything, or let's say if you could change three things in our current business environment from the startup perspective, what would you have gone for?
You mean the startup perspective, like in Poland or in general?
Yes, in Poland, yeah.
So the first thing is that I would try to build an ecosystem that is going to be much more interesting for the capital, abroad capital. Because right now we have most of the capital we have in the company, in Poland, is from the government or from European Union. So we don't have those mature VCs and mature investors from other regions of the world that are not relying on public capital. Because relying on public capital makes a lot of VCs lazy. Why?
Okay.
Because if they are lazy, they are not doing the proper due diligence because they are risking just 20% out of the capital they are investing, because 80% is basically for free.
Of course.
That would be one element to create a regulation or the place to onboard external mature capital that knows how to scale up those businesses. The second thing that I would change is to simplify taxes. Like really, this is probably
everyone in Poland wishes knew that was
really
a thing.
If you would have like flat tax and that's it, you are always paying this. I would never
just certainty really. It's
been looking for any other places to be there because that's enough for me. And the third place, like we have a lot of initiatives in Poland. Like we have those tech incubators, we have a lot of things like that. But most of them are ineffective because most of them are managed by the people that don't have experience. Okay. So probably I would invest, because that's not bad. Those people will educate themselves eventually.
Of course, yeah.
But I would invest not into building just the infrastructure for startups, which is ineffective, but into education. So there are a lot of people worldwide that are, people who built billion-dollar company, people who manage a huge VCs, people who have a successful 40-year-old incubator on the south of France. And I would reach those people to help and to educate the people we have in Poland so they can get the knowledge and get the necessary skill set to much better help those startups and companies that we are building in here.
So it's not just, kind of throwing capital at, perhaps raw talent and raw potential, all these skills. It's also about mentoring these people and perhaps this idea of not reinventing the wheel, which has been invented somewhere else, just kind of bringing that know-how.
They will make mistakes that those people made in the past. And also,
save time, efforts,
in capital, it's about smart batch on top of the capital. That's the important thing, not just the capital. Because with just getting the capital, you are not getting things that are much more valuable than the money. The support to scale up your business, the support to get clients, the support to change your business if your business idea was not accurate one.
Of course, and it evolves.
Pivot.
Yeah.
So, and those skill sets we can get like basically for free almost from the people that are experienced enough, and we should educate the people that are building the startup ecosystem in Poland, and that's the thing that I would change, and I strongly believe that would help.
So Paweł, I suppose if there was this one last core message that you would like to get out there to our viewers to sum up what we discussed, what it would be?
Okay, so I believe a lot of you have the idea to build something. So if you have idea in your head, probably 10 other people worldwide have the same idea. So you need to make it fast. You need to start bootstrapping, start building now. Do not afraid about the global economy. If you have idea, be brave enough to build. We are builders. Let's start to change this world.
Well, that's all what we have in today. So I'm Dawid Malinowski and
Pawel Laskarzewski.
thank you so much
Thank you very much.